Hey 49ers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today we have another San Francisco 49ers news and rumors video. A lot of things going on. Shanahan met with the media a couple days ago, got some key bits from there about Dante Pettis, about Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa updates, Raheem Mostert, plenty of stuff going on here. Before we jump in though, I forgot to give a shout out to my boy DDeet72 on our last video. Remember, last week I said, whoever correctly predicts the 49ers score in the comments down below against the Bucs will get a shout out. So shout out to DDeet72 as he predicted 31-17 to be the proper score for the Niners-Bucs game. Hopefully we get a nice win this coming Sunday against the Cincinnati Bengals. All right, jumping in. This one is all revolving around Nick Bosa. Now, he did not practice, yesterday? And again, Kyle Shanahan was asked about it in the press conference that he was holding and said basically, ankle still sore. Ankle still sore from last week's game against the Bucs. If he was healthy, he would have practiced. So he should be playing on Sunday, but that high ankle sprain, we talked about it whenever it happened months ago, it feels like. It's going to be a lingering thing. He did sit out practice last week, or yesterday, but everything that I've heard is that he should be good to go on Sunday. We'll have to wait and see, though, because if it worsens during the week, then obviously he could sit out against the Bengals. The big thing I wanted to focus in on here with Nick Bosa is the fact that he was able to get on the field last week against the Bucs. This is no small feat. He worked tirelessly every single day to rehab to be able to start week one. Listen, 359 days. That's how long it was between the TCU game back when he was with Ohio State, last time he was on the field, and then the game against the Bucs. And many people, including myself, were very unsure if he would play due to that high ankle sprain. Every waking hour. That's how much rehab Nick Bosa said he did leading up to week one to get himself ready to go. And once he got on the field, he was very, very productive. Now, before we get into the stats, here's what Bosa said about finally getting out there. He said, quote, "It's just a different type of mindset rushing the NFL compared to college. College, the ball's out. Pros, they might tuck it like you just can't assume the play is over. You really have to rush until you touch him every single time." I bring that quote up again because it's not like Nick Bosa rehabbed this injury and then's back against a college offensive line or a college quarterback where their left tackle's not that good or their left guard's not that great or their quarterback's bad. No, this was an NFL game, and he played a ton of snaps. 36 snaps in total, 3 tackles, 1 sack, and the second best rush sack rate among rookies in week one. He was very good. He was as good as advertised, and even dealing with that high ankle sprain. I wanted to shed light and say how impressed I am that Nick Bosa was on the field. Now, this could be a reoccurring segment here on the NFL or the 49ers news and rumors video because Bosa could be out one week, could be back the next week. That high ankle sprain is a rough injury, but it's looking like he should be able to play against the Bengals, and if he does, look for more production out of him. Remember, they gave up 4 sacks, the Bengals did, of Andy Dalton last week against Seattle in their loss to the Seahawks. So could be an opportunity for Bosa to get more sacks. He does 1 per game. He did 1 last week. That's 16 total sacks. Could be a big year for the rookie Nick Bosa. How about we just ask the question? How many sacks will Nick Bosa have this season? What are we looking at here? I would say if he plays the whole season, 8. 8 to 10, I think, is a very fair number. Now, if he plays the whole season and doesn't have any sort of setbacks and is healthy and good to go and progresses, 12 is a very real number as well. We'll just have to wait and see. This next bit of news and rumors is fascinating to me and has to do with the relationship between Jimmy Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan. Now, if you were to go put a microphone in front of Jimmy Garoppolo and a microphone in front of Kyle Shanahan and ask them about their relationship, ask them about their trust, they would, of course, say it's fine. It's totally fine. There's no worries. We won last week. We're great. If you actually dive into it, though, dive into the film, as I did, right? I did it so you guys don't have to. It looks like Kyle Shanahan does not trust Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the deep ball. Jimmy Garoppolo threw short of the sticks more than any quarterback in week one, and this was all designed. Listen, here's the deal. Kyle Shanahan did have a quote about adjusting his play calling after the pick six. Remember, you had the early interception or the pick six by Jimmy Garoppolo. Shanahan visibly upset on the sideline. He was asked about it this past week in his press conference. He said, quote, "I think the first thing we got to do is not turn the ball over. I mean, if we don't turn the ball over, I think we'll have a chance to win every single game we're in." It seems like a little shot there at Jimmy Garoppolo. Again, you could be listening right now and going, Thomas just stirring up stuff. Thomas doesn't like Jimmy Garoppolo. Guys, I like Jimmy Garoppolo. But turn on the film and look at these stats, and the stats tell us a different story in terms of what Shanahan thinks of Jimmy Garoppolo. Here are the advanced stats. Number one, Jimmy Garoppolo's 6.4 yards average depth of target was way down from where it was the past 2 seasons. He averaged about 9 to 10 yards per average target. This one down 4 yards per pass. 18 passes from Jimmy Garoppolo this past week were completed at or behind the line of scrimmage. That's a 40.9% depth-adjusted completion rate. Here's the deal. Besides that deep ball to Richie James Jr., which really was the only deep ball they decided to take a shot on in this game, and I'll just tell you right up, I watched the film, that play is designed that way there's no possible way that Garoppolo throws an interception. Everything else is short, dink, and dunk. Now, it worked. No worries. We're fine. We won. Yes, but it is interesting with what we heard this offseason about Shanahan not being 100% sold on Jimmy Garoppolo, that this could be a showcase of that, an actual manifestation of the fact that, hey, I don't trust you throwing deep. I can't have you throwing interceptions. As soon as you threw that terrible pick six, it's like, all right, listen up. We're going at or behind the line of scrimmage. Let's keep it simple for Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't want him throwing downfield. Again, this could be nothing. This could be me watching the film and seeing something and going, oh, well, that's really weird. Oh, and there's stats to back it up. And in reality, it does not matter. But it's something to keep an eye on going forward to see if they open up the playbook a little bit more for Jimmy Garoppolo and allow him to throw the ball deep to these wide receivers. Because, again, the receivers have been poor. Receivers were poor this past week, but they have the speed and they have the deep threat ability to get guys down the field. Just did not do it in this game. I'm very curious to see what happens against the Cincinnati Bengals. Question for you guys. Do you guys trust Jimmy Garoppolo throwing the deep ball? Do you trust him going down the field, or are you still worried about interceptions? I don't know. Again, it's the quarterback position. It's polarizing. You think one thing, I think the other. Do not comment down below, I do not like Jimmy Garoppolo. I do like Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll say it every single video. I'm just telling you what I saw in the film. I thought it'd be interesting, and we'll see what happens going forward in the year. All right, moving on here. D Ford, not impressed with the 49ers win 31-17. This one's good. This one, you guys will enjoy this. If you're heated up about the Garoppolo, you'll like this one. So remember, the Niners defense held Tampa to 17 total points. They forced 3 Buccaneer turnovers, and really, there was a Quan Alexander and a more interception that should have happened. They could have had 5 total turnovers if you just catch the ball. Especially the Alexander one, like right to him. It's like, just catch it and then go, but whatever. It's fine. So the defense, in our eyes, played really, really well. D Ford, though, of course, coming over from Kansas City this past offseason, said, quote, with our potential, I always expect to take over a game. We made key plays. But there's a difference between making plays and taking over a game. We had a couple of spurts where we just need to get home. I just need to be better. It's game 1, and we need to get better. Love it, right? Because you hold them to 17 points. You force 3 turnovers. You get 4 sacks. It's all good, right? But, it might have been 3 sacks, 3 or 4 sacks, right around that area. I can't remember what it was. But D Ford says, we have the potential, the players, and the ability to take over games, especially at the defensive line, and they didn't do that late in his eyes. It's scary to think that with how good the defense played on Sunday, which again, I'm trying to remember what my grade was for them. It was like a B+. It might have been an A-, that D4 thinks it can get a lot better. We'll have to wait and see, but overall, we expected this defense to be really, really good. It looked good in week 1, and if D4's right and it can get better, hey, listen, anything is possible, especially in a division that didn't look too great in their week 1s. We talked about this last week. Seattle barely beat the Bengals, and the Rams barely beat the Panthers, and the Bucs are terrible. Not the Bucs are terrible. And the Cardinals are struggling on offense. All that stuff. So, interesting going forward in the NFC West. Question, is this a top 5 defense? Well, from what you saw week 1, is it a top 5 defense? I think it has the potential to be a top 5 defense, especially if D Ford is correct in terms of the fact that they, made some key plays, but didn't take over a game. I guess we'll wait and see if they can take over the game against the Bengals coming up here on Sunday. We're going to preview that game at the end of this video, so just sit tight. Final bit of news here. It's about Raheem Mostert, and it ties in with Tevin Coleman. Now remember, the Tevin Coleman injury came out, and we were like, oh no, extended period of time. This could be, could be out for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, a long time, right? Essentially was the gist there of what we heard, especially right after the game. Well, Kyle Shanahan has basically told us that Tevin Coleman is going to be week to week. He's not going to play this Sunday, but it could be a week-to-week basis instead of a month-to-month basis, right? So that's good news. The thing, though, is this now means Raheem Mostert is going to be the number 2 back going into this week behind Matt Breida. He is going to see a ton of work on the field against the Bengals. Now remember, Mostert was actually the leading rusher on the team last week. 9 carries for 40 yards, had that 18-yard dash in that football game. But I think we kind of forget that this guy is a speed running back. 4.34 speed at the combine. He can take over football games just with his speed alone. Right? The outside runs can be big. If he gets to the second level, he can create some really big plays here. I'm very excited to see what Raheem Mostert does with his increased role. Because again, he saw the field 9 carries last week with Coleman getting injured and stuff like that. But when you have a Tevin Coleman, when you have a Matt Breida, he's naturally going to be the third guy. Now he's going to be the second guy, really going to be 1A, 1B sharing with Matt Breida. I'm fascinated to see what Mostert can do on Sunday. And if he plays well, right, then it's just like, okay, well, those rumors about Melvin Gordon are not really necessary. And, Tevin Coleman, we can kind of mix him back in whenever he gets healthy, take his time. It's very important that the Niners are able to run the football on Sunday. I think Mostert could have a big part of that on Sunday. All right, question. Who will have more yards on Sunday? Type B for Breida, type M for Mostert down below. Doesn't matter who it is, right? Because we just want to see yards. If one has 100, the other has 5, who really cares? But who do you think will have more? Breida's still a great back. He's very underrated, but Mostert is going to have his chance to be on the field and getting a ton of reps. All right, let's jump into a quick preview like we did last week for the 49ers versus the Bengals. Now, the quick gist, right? At 1 p.m. kickoff. The Niners were 1-point favorites a couple days ago. Vegas has switched. They're now 1.5-point underdogs to the Bengals, and the over-under sits at about 44.5. Question here, though. Can the 49ers run the football? The first big point we got to look at, we got to expect, we got to see what happens on Sunday. Are you able to run the football? Remember, Bengals were a bottom 4 rushing defense last year. They got run all over the place. The problem is they held Seattle and Chris Carson and that stable of backs to 72 yards rushing in Seattle last week. So maybe it's a better running team than what it was, or a better running defense than what it was last week. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, establishing the run is going to be key. They didn't do a very good job of that last week. I think it could help out, especially early on in this game, be able to play action out of it and maybe get a deep shot to Goodwin or deep shot to Samuel or whatever, because you're able to play fake off of the runs. First key is, can they run the football? Number 2. Can the secondary duplicate what they did week 1? Now, listen, I know what you're saying. It was Tampa Bay. They're really, really bad. The secondary we have yet to see. Now they're going up against Andy Dalton, who's bad as well. Well, wait a second. Andy Dalton last week against Seattle, which is good defense, 418 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 4 times, like I said earlier, so there's some potential to go ahead and get after him, but don't act like Andy Dalton is going to be another cakewalk, another non-test, non-factor for this 49ers secondary. We liked what we saw last week. Richard Sherman loved what he saw last week. Let's duplicate that going forward here against what is a underrated Bengals pass attack, because John Ross and Tyler Boyd had really good games week 1 against Seattle. The Bengals were a lot better than expected, and you're on the road. I'm going to predict a win. Maybe I'll predict the score tomorrow on our mailbag video, but I'm going to predict a win, but we'll see what happens going forward, especially got to be able to run the football, got to be able to stop the run and the Andy Dalton passing attack this coming Sunday. Finally, final key here. You want to be able to run the football. You want to be able to stop their offense, obviously their passing attack. What's going to happen with these Niner receivers, darn it? I mean, I think Kyle Shanahan said today in his press conference, again, depending on when you watch this video, that he gave too many snaps to Deebo Samuel and not enough to Dante Pettis, which again is like, how did you forget about Dante Pettis and only gave him 2 snaps the entire game? Regardless, will Dante Pettis do anything this weekend? At all? Like, will he be out there for more than 2 snaps is a legitimate question mark here. Will Deebo Samuel show a little bit of maturity, not have the false start, not have the fumble, get in more than just 3 catches, and who will step up as the 3rd receiver this week? Where's Marquise Goodwin? Where's Kendrick Bourne? Is Richie James Jr. really going to be the leading receiver on this team besides Kittle every single week? The receiving core has always been a question mark. I kind of harp on them a lot in these videos, but I'm very curious to see what happens with Pettis. Is he going to be on the field? Is Deebo Samuel going to get more catches? And who's going to be that 3rd receiver? Where's Bourne and where's Goodwin? They have got to step up and give a little bit more help to Jimmy Garoppolo. Way back at the start of this video, I said Garoppolo's dumping it off, behind and at the line of scrimmage. Maybe it's because Pettis, Samuel, Goodwin, they're all bad, and he doesn't like finding them deep and they can't get open. Who knows? We'll wait and see. It's early, not going to overreact, but those are my 3 big keys going into Sunday against the Bengals. Let's get the win. Let's not look ahead to the big home matchup against the Steelers, because everyone wants to focus on that. Let's get through the Bengals. Let's go 2-0, and then go back to Levi Stadium and take on the Pittsburgh Steelers, who maybe are going to be struggling, and we could win to go 3-0. All right, what's your score prediction? 49ers Bengals. What do you think? Give me the score prediction, and I will use this video if you correctly predict it. Just like Deets did it at the very top of this video, I will give you a shout out next week on our Monday or our Tuesday video, depending on when we put it out. But go ahead, give me your score predictions down below, and we will try and tally all those up, and whoever's right will get a shout out next week. There you go. That's all the news and rumors and previews and all the stuff we have for today on the 49ers news and rumors video. Plenty of stuff coming up on this channel. Be sure to subscribe to our 49ers only YouTube channel as well. We have plenty of great content. We're also going to do a mailbag tomorrow. We got a lot of mailbag questions from the previous videos, so we'll go ahead and answer those as well. All right, that's all the time we have for today. For Chat Sports, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.